The stars looked different from the bridge of the human ship. Captain Lee Minho stood with his hands behind his back, watching the green planet growing larger on the main screen. He had been a ship captain for 12 years, but this mission felt different. The Vextar homeworld waited ahead, and this would be humanity's first major diplomatic meeting with the insectoid race. "We are approaching their orbital station," said Park Jisoo from her position at the tactical console. She was young for a tactical officer. Only 28, but she had sharp eyes that missed nothing. Her fingers moved quickly across her controls, monitoring the dozens of alien ships surrounding them. "Keep all weapons powered down," Minho said quietly. "We are here as friends." Kim Daehyun looked up from the engineering station. He was a big man with rough hands from years of fixing machines. "Captain, their ships are scanning us." "Very aggressive scans. They are looking at everything," Minho nodded slowly. He had expected this. The Vextar were known across the galaxy as a proud species. They did not trust easily, and they especially did not trust mammals. To them, humans were strange creatures with soft skin and weak bodies. "Let them scan," Minho said. "We have nothing to hide." The human ship called the Horizon's Edge moved smoothly into orbit. It was not a warship. It carried only basic defensive weapons and a crew of 40 humans who wanted peace. Earth had sent them to make friends, to show the galaxy that humanity could be trusted. Choi Yuna spoke from the communication station. She was small and spoke softly, but her translations were always perfect. "Captain, they are sending docking instructions. They want us to come to their main station." "Prepare the shuttle," Minho ordered. "Jisoo, Daehyun, you come with me. Yuna, you stay here and keep the channel open." 20 minutes later, the three humans sat in a small shuttle heading toward the massive alien station. Through the window, Minho could see the strange architecture of the Vextar. Their buildings looked like giant honeycombs made of metal and crystal. Ships moved in perfect formation like insects in a hive. "They are very organized," Jisoo said, watching the alien ships. "Too organized," Daehyun muttered. "It makes me nervous." The shuttle landed in a huge docking bay. When the door opened, the smell hit them first. It was sharp and chemical, like burning plastic mixed with flowers. Minho kept his face calm, but his eyes watered slightly. 6 Vextar guards waited for them. They stood on 4 legs with 2 more limbs that could work as either arms or legs. Their bodies were covered in hard shells that shimmered with blue and green colors. Their heads were triangular with multiple eyes that moved independently. Each guard carried weapons that hummed with energy. "Follow," one guard said through a translation device. Its voice sounded like clicking and hissing, but the device turned it into rough human language. They walked through corridors that were too tall and too narrow for human comfort. Other Vextar stopped to stare at them. Some made clicking sounds that might have been laughter. Others touched their antennae together, which Minho knew was how they talked privately. The negotiation chamber was enormous. The ceiling stretched up into darkness. The walls were covered in screens, showing star maps and ship formations. In the center was a long table made of something that looked like black glass. 12 Vextar waited at the table. The largest one sat in the middle. Its shell was darker than the others, almost purple and decorated with metal symbols. This was Ambassador Vrexkal, the leader of their diplomatic corps. "Humans," Vrexkal said, and even through the translator, Minho could hear contempt. "Sit." The 3 humans sat on chairs that were clearly not made for their bodies. Minho kept his posture straight and placed his hands on the table where everyone could see them. "Thank you for meeting with us," Minho began. "Earth sends its greetings and hopes for friendship between our peoples." Vrexkal's antennae twitched. Several other Vextar made clicking sounds. Friendship. An interesting word from a species that only left their planet 200 years ago. "We are young, yes," Minho agreed calmly, "but we are eager to learn. Young, weak, soft." Vrexkal leaned forward. "You are mammals. Your bodies are fragile. You need constant food and water. You sleep for hours every day. Why should we waste time with creatures who are barely better than animals?" Jisoo's hand tightened on the table. Daehyun's jaw clenched. But Minho just smiled politely. "Every species has different needs," Minho said. "We respect your ways and we hope you can respect ours." "Respect?" Another Vextar spoke up, one with a red marking on its shell. "You want respect? Then you should give us something valuable. Your colonies on the outer systems, give them to us, and perhaps we will consider you worthy of speaking to us." Minho's smile stayed in place, but his eyes became colder. Our colonies are homes to millions of humans. We cannot simply give them away, cannot? Or will not. Vrexcal stood up. Its full height was impressive, nearly 3 meters tall. You come here asking for friendship, but you offer nothing. You are typical mammals. All words, no substance. We offer trade, Minho said, his voice still calm. Technology exchange. Cultural sharing. These things benefit both our peoples. Vrexcal made a sound like breaking glass. It was laughter. Technology? What could soft mammals possibly teach us? You build slow ships. Your weapons are primitive. Your colonies are weak and poorly defended. The other Vextar joined in the laughter. The sound filled the chamber, harsh and mocking. Minho took a slow breath. His smile remained, but it looked a bit harder now. Jisoo glanced at him, worry in her eyes. She had served with Minho long enough to recognize the signs. Ambassador, Minho said carefully, we came here in good faith. Perhaps we started this conversation poorly. Let us begin again. Begin again? Vrexcal moved around the table, coming closer to the humans. The guards moved with it, weapons ready. There is nothing to begin. You will give us your colonies, or we will take them. You will surrender your trade routes, or we will close them. You are weak, and weakness has no place in this galaxy. We are not weak, Jisoo said suddenly. We are patient. There is a difference. Vrexcal turned its multiple eyes on her. Patient? Is that what you call it when you are too afraid to fight? Daehyun started to stand up, but Minho held up one hand. Daehyun sat back down, but his face was red with anger. We are not afraid, Minho said. His voice was quieter now. We simply prefer peace. Then you are fools, Vrexcal said. It moved even closer until it stood right beside Minho. The galaxy does not care about peace. It cares about power. And you have none. Ambassador, please, Minho tried again. This hostility is unnecessary. Hostility? Vrexcal's antennae quivered with what looked like amusement. This is not hostility. This is simply truth. You are inferior. Your species will either serve us or it will be removed from the important regions of space. Those are your only choices. Minho's smile finally faded. He sat very still, looking up at the tall alien. And if we refuse both choices? Minho asked softly. Then we will teach you what happens to mammals who do not understand their place, Vrexcal said. We will start with your colony on Theta 7. 5,000 humans live there, soft, weak, easy to capture. They will make excellent workers for our mining operations. Minho stood up slowly. He was much shorter than Vrexcal, but something in the way he moved made the ambassador step back slightly. You are threatening to enslave human civilians, Minho said. His voice was very quiet, very calm. Enslave is such an ugly word, Vrexcal replied. We prefer to call it putting resources to proper use. Minho looked at the ambassador for a long moment. Then he reached up and slowly, deliberately removed his diplomatic sash. The blue fabric with Earth symbol fell onto the table. Now, Minho said, his voice perfectly level, I am actually getting annoyed. The reaction was immediate and shocking. Vrexcal froze. Its antennae went completely flat against its head. Every Vextar in the room stopped moving. The guards, who had been advancing with their weapons, halted mid-step. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then Vrexcal made a sound like a scream and a hiss combined. It turned and ran for the door. The other Vextar diplomats scattered, their legs moving in a blur of panic. The guards dropped their weapons and fled. Alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed on every screen. Minho stood in the center of the chamber, confused. Jisoo and Daehyun looked at each other, equally bewildered. What just happened? Daehyun asked. Through the windows, they could see Vextar ships beginning to leave the station. Not just a few ships, dozens of them moving away as fast as their engines could push them. Jisoo checked her portable datapad. Her eyes widened. Captain, they are evacuating. The entire station is evacuating. And the planet. They are launching ships from the surface, too. Minho looked around the empty chamber. His diplomatic sash still lay on the black table. Through the windows, more and more ships fled into space. I just said I was annoyed, Minho said quietly. Why would that make them run? None of them had an answer. They stood alone in the alien chamber while outside, an entire civilization fled from 3 confused humans who had only come to talk about peace. Then we continue our mission. We are explorers. We are diplomats. We will keep being 3 days past after the incident with the Vextar. The Horizon's Edge moved through space slowly, its crew still processing what they had learned. Captain Lee Minho spent most of his time reading through the alien files, trying to understand how humanity had become something the galaxy feared. On the third day, a message came through from Earth. It was marked urgent and directed specifically to Minho. He opened it in his private quarters, expecting orders to return home. Instead, he found instructions to visit a station called Archive 17. The message was short. We need you to understand more. Archive 17 contains records that are not in the public database. Go there. Learn what the progenitors really knew about us. Minho called his senior crew to the briefing room. Park Ji-soo, Kim Dae-hyun, Han Ji-ho, and Choi Yuna gathered around the table while he explained the new orders. Archive 17 is a Galactic Council facility, Yuna said, checking her datapad. It stores ancient records from extinct civilizations. Very few people are allowed to visit. Why would Earth want us to go there? Dae-hyun asked. Because someone on Earth already knows about these records, Minho said. They want us to see them with our own eyes. The journey to Archive 17 took 2 days. The station floated in empty space, far from any planets or stars. It was enormous, a sphere of dark metal covered in lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Ships from a dozen different species orbited it, all keeping their distance from each other. When the Horizon's Edge requested docking permission, the response came immediately. Human vessel Horizon's Edge, you are cleared for priority docking. Bay 7, a guide is waiting for you. Priority docking? Jisoo said, surprised. We have never gotten priority anything from the Galactic Council. Things have changed since the Vexstar incident, Minho said quietly. The galaxy is paying attention to us now. They took a small team down to the station. Besides Minho, there was Yoon Seojin, the ship's historian. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had spent 30 years studying human history and alien cultures. If anyone could understand ancient records, it was her. Young Mirai, the security officer, also came. She was tall and moved like a fighter, always alert. Her job was to protect the team if anything went wrong. The docking bay was clean and quiet. A single alien waited for them. It looked like a floating jellyfish made of blue light, with dozens of thin tentacles that moved in patterns. This was a Lumini, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. Welcome, humans, the Lumini said through a translator that made its voice sound like music. I am Keeper Shal. I maintain the ancient records. Your people requested access to the progenitor files about humanity. This is unusual. Most species do not want to know what the progenitors wrote about them. We need to understand, Minho said simply. Keeper Shal floated closer, its tentacles forming shapes that might have been gestures. Follow me, but be warned. The progenitors were very honest in their observations. What you learn may change how you see yourselves. They walked through corridors filled with floating displays. Each one showed information from civilizations that no longer existed. Some had been gone for thousands of years, others for millions. The archive preserved their knowledge like a tomb of memories. Finally, they reached a circular room with a domed ceiling. In the center was a pedestal with a crystal sphere that glowed softly. The progenitor observations of Earth, Keeper Shal announced. They watched your world for 3,000 of your years before your species developed space travel. They documented everything. This is their complete analysis. Seojin stepped forward, her hands shaking slightly. She had spent her whole life studying the past. Now she would learn what aliens had seen when they studied her ancestors. The crystal sphere projected images into the air. Humans appeared walking across ancient landscapes, building fires, making tools, hunting animals much larger than themselves. The progenitor voice began speaking, translated into human language. It sounded calm and scientific, like a professor giving a lecture. Subject species humans. Planet Earth. Observation period 3 millennia. Initial assessment unlikely to achieve interstellar capability. Physical specifications are inadequate for survival in hostile environments. No natural armor. No natural weapons. Relatively weak compared to other predators on their planet. Dae-hyun frowned. That does not sound like a good start. But they survived, Seojin said quietly, watching the images. The projection showed humans hunting a mammoth. They were tiny compared to the huge animal, but they followed it for days. They threw spears that barely wounded it. The mammoth ran and the humans followed. It ran again and they followed again. For days and days until finally the mammoth collapsed from exhaustion. Then the humans killed it. Revised assessment, the progenitor voice continued. Subject species exhibits unusual persistence. They do not possess speed or strength, but they do not stop. They pursue prey until the prey simply cannot run anymore. This is persistence hunting, rare among intelligent species. The images changed, showing human civilizations growing. Cities appeared. Empires rose and fell. Diseases killed millions, but the humans kept building. Ice ages came, covering the land in snow, but the humans adapted and survived. Further observation reveals pattern, the progenitor voice said. Humans possess extreme patience combined with determination. They endure suffering that would break other species. Starvation, disease, war, natural disasters. Each time they rebuild. Each time they continue. Jiho watched the images with medical interest. They are documenting our resilience. No, Sojin said. They are documenting something more than that. The projection showed humans in different situations. A mother staying awake for 3 days to care for a sick child. A farmer working through pain to harvest crops before a storm. A builder continuing to work on a temple even as enemies attacked the city. Critical discovery, the progenitor voice announced, and something in its tone changed. It sounded almost worried. Humans possess a dual-state psychology. Primary state, cooperative, patient, seeks peaceful solutions. This state can endure extreme pressure without breaking. Secondary state, activated when patient's threshold is exceeded. In secondary state, humans ignore pain, fatigue, and danger. They focus entirely on solving the identified problem. The images showed a human village being attacked by raiders. The villagers ran and hid at first. They tried to negotiate. They offered tribute. But when the raiders started killing children, something changed. The villagers stopped running. They picked up farming tools and fought back with terrible intensity. The raiders fled, frightened by people who should have been helpless victims. This secondary state is extremely dangerous, the progenitor voice continued. When activated, human capability increases by estimated 300 to 500%. They accomplish tasks that should be impossible for their baseline abilities. Most importantly, they do not stop until the problem is solved or they physically cannot continue. Minho felt his skin prickling. He was watching his own species through alien eyes, and what he saw was disturbing. How do we activate this secondary state? Seojin asked the recording, though she knew it could not answer. The progenitor voice answered anyway, as if it had anticipated the question. Humans enter secondary state through specific psychological trigger. They must first exhaust all peaceful options. They must feel that cooperation has failed. When this occurs, they make internal declaration, often verbal. Common phrases include, I am tired of this. I am done being patient. Now I am annoyed. These phrases signal internal shift from primary to secondary state. The crystal showed more examples. A human scientist who worked for 70 hours straight to solve a problem, after declaring she was annoyed by the lack of progress. A human soldier who held a position alone against dozens of enemies after saying he was tired of retreating. A human engineer who rebuilt a collapsed bridge in 1 day after getting frustrated with people saying it was impossible. Warning, the progenitor voice said, and now it definitely sounded concerned. Species classification must be revised. Initial assessment harmless. Current assessment, extremely dangerous under specific conditions. Recommend all future contact with humanity includes protocol to prevent activation of secondary state. Young Mirai crossed her arms. They were afraid of us. Thousands of years ago, they were already afraid. They understood something we did not understand about ourselves, Seojin said. She was taking notes rapidly, her historian's mind cataloging every detail. They saw the pattern before we had even left our planet. The projection continued. It showed the progenitors conducting experiments. They watched humans in crisis situations. They documented how long it took for patience to break. They measured the increase in capability when it did. Human psychology operates on pressure release system, the progenitor analysis explained. They are taught from childhood to suppress aggression and frustration. This is survival mechanism for social species living in close quarters. But suppression creates buildup. When release occurs, all stored pressure converts to focused action. The images showed human children being taught to be patient, to share, to wait their turn, to control their temper. The progenitors highlighted this with Specky. The shuttle ride back to the horizon's edge was silent. Minho sat with his arms crossed, staring out the window at the empty station they were leaving behind. Jisoo piloted while Daehyun kept checking the sensors, making sure no alien ships were coming back. Still nothing, Daehyun said for the 5th time. The whole system is clearing out. Even their defense platforms are powering down. Minho said nothing. He was replaying the meeting in his mind, trying to understand what had gone wrong. He had been insulted before. He had been threatened before. But he had never seen an entire species run away just because he removed his diplomatic sash and said he was annoyed. When they docked with the Horizon's Edge, the entire crew was waiting. Choi Yuna rushed forward, her face pale. "Captain, something is happening," she said quickly. "Messages are flooding every communication channel in the galaxy. All of them are about us, about what happened down there." "Show me," Minho ordered. They gathered in the communications room. The walls were covered with screens showing intercepted messages in dozens of alien languages. Yuna's fingers flew over the controls, bringing up translation after translation. "This one is from the Vextar government," Yuna said. "It went out to every known civilization 20 minutes ago." The screen showed a message with a bright red border. The translation appeared below the alien text E-code Crimson. "Human patience threshold breached. Captain Lee Minho of Earth vessel. Horizon's Edge has declared active annoyance. All Vextar citizens are advised to evacuate system immediately. This is not a drill." Repeat. "This is not a drill." Minho read it 3 times. "They evacuated an entire star system because I said I was annoyed?" "There is more, Captain," Yuna said quietly. She brought up another message, this one from a species called the Karathi. "They are warning their trading partners to avoid our ship." Han Jiho entered the room. He was the ship's medical officer, a thin man with tired eyes who rarely left his medical bay. "Captain, I need to show you something. I have been researching our database about human-alien interactions. What I found is disturbing." He plugged his datapad into the main display. Files began appearing on the screen. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. "These are incident reports from the last 50 years, Jiho explained. Every time a human has used the phrase, 'Now I'm actually getting annoyed,' or something similar when dealing with aliens. I had no idea there were so many." Jisoo leaned forward, reading the files. "These are all flagged as priority warnings. Why?" "Look at what happened after each incident," Jiho said. He opened the first file. It showed a report from a human mining colony on a planet called Pharos 3. The date was 32 years ago. The Krell Empire sent a war fleet to take over a small human colony. Jiho read aloud. "Population of 200. The colony administrator was a woman named Kang Sumin. She asked the Krell to leave peacefully. They refused and began landing troops. The report says that Kang Sumin sent one final message to the Krell commander saying she was now actually annoyed." "What happened?" Daehyun asked. Jiho scrolled down. "She single-handedly destroyed 7 Krell warships using modified mining equipment and homemade explosives. The Krell fleet retreated. Later investigation showed that she worked for 72 hours without rest, building weapons from whatever materials she could find. The Krell Empire added Earth to their list of protected worlds and have never bothered human colonies since." The room was quiet. Minho felt a strange chill run down his back. "Show me another one," he said. Jiho opened a different file. "This one is from 18 years ago. A plague hit a joint human-alien research station. 300 people were dying. The alien doctor said there was no cure and they should evacuate. The human doctor, Bae Hyejin, said that was unacceptable. When the aliens tried to force the evacuation, she told them she was getting annoyed and they needed to leave her alone." "And?" Jisoo prompted. "She developed a cure in 18 hours, Jiho said simply. "Something that should have taken years of research. She did not sleep. She did not eat. She just worked until everyone was saved. The alien medical community still studies her research methods, but they cannot understand how she did it so fast." Yuna brought up more files. "Look at this one. A human merchant ship was trapped in an asteroid field. The pilot was Lieutenant Nam Taeyang. His engines were damaged. The ship was breaking apart. He had 30 crew members aboard. When rescue ships said they could not reach him in time, he said he was annoyed by the situation. She showed them video footage from the ship's recorder. It showed Nam Taeyang manually piloting a dying ship through a field of spinning rocks. The passage should have been impossible. The ship was hit dozens of times, but he kept flying, kept adjusting, kept moving forward. When he finally reached clear space, the ship fell apart completely. but every crew member survived. The rescue team said it was the most skilled flying they had ever witnessed, Yuna finished. Minho sat down heavily in a chair. You are telling me that every time a human says they are annoyed, they accomplish impossible things. Not every time, Jiho corrected, but often enough that the galaxy has noticed. Look at this. He brought up a different type of file. This one was older, marked with symbols that Minho did not recognize. This is from an alien database, Jiho explained. A species called the progenitors who studied humanity thousands of years ago, long before we had space travel. They watched us from orbit and recorded everything. The text was ancient, but the translation was clear. Observation, log 2847. The humans endure tremendous hardship without complaint. We have observed them surviving ice ages, plagues, and constant warfare. They possess unusual patience for a species with such short lifespans. However, when that patience ends, they display capability far beyond their normal baseline. We believe this is a survival mechanism. They conserve energy and resources through patience, then release all reserves when truly necessary. There is more, Jiho continued, scrolling through the ancient text. The progenitors documented human behavior in detail. They noted that humans have cultural conditioning that makes them suppress frustration and anger. This creates internal pressure that builds over time. Daehyun rubbed his face with both hands. So we are like... What, springs? We compress and compress until we release? Something like that, Jiho agreed. The progenitors say that when a human declares they are annoyed, it means they have exhausted every peaceful option. It means they have decided to actually solve the problem, no matter what it takes. Jisoo pulled up a training video from the alien database. It showed human athletes pushing beyond their limits. Parents staying awake for days to care for sick children. Engineers fixing impossible problems through pure determination. The aliens have been studying us, she said quietly. They know something about humans that we do not even know about ourselves. Yuna found another file, this one marked with official warnings. This is from the Galactic Council. It is a guideline for all species on how to interact with humans. She read it aloud. Warning: human species exhibits extreme patience under pressure. This should not be mistaken for weakness. When a human states they are annoyed, frustrated, or tired of a situation, immediate de-escalation is required. An annoyed human will solve problems through any means available, often ignoring personal safety and normal limitations. Multiple incidents have confirmed that human problem-solving capability increases exponentially when patience threshold is breached. Minho listened to all of this with growing disbelief. The entire galaxy has warning labels about us? About our annoyance specifically, Jiho clarified. They have learned to recognize the pattern. When we are calm, we are friendly and cooperative. When we say we are annoyed, we become something different, something dangerous. But I just said I was annoyed, Minho protested. I did not do anything. I just stood there. They did not wait to see what you would do, Jisoo said. They have seen enough humans solve impossible problems after saying those words. They ran before you could start problem solving. Daehyun laughed suddenly, though it sounded nervous. So the Vextar threatened to enslave our colonies. You said you were annoyed. They assumed you were about to do something impossible to stop them, and they ran. That is insane, Minho said, is it? Jiho asked. He brought up more files, letting them scroll across the screen. Hundreds of incidents, thousands of documented cases of humans accomplishing extraordinary things after expressing annoyance. The evidence is overwhelming. The galaxy has been watching us for a long time. They have learned that an annoyed human is more dangerous than an angry one. Why? Minho asked. Why is annoyance worse than anger? Because anger is emotional, Yuna said softly. Anger can be negotiated with. Anger can be calmed. But annoyance means we have made a cold, rational decision to fix the problem. Nothing will stop us until the problem is solved. The room fell silent. Everyone absorbed this information, trying to understand what it meant. Finally, Jisoo spoke. So what do we do now? Minho looked at the screens full of warnings and incident reports. He looked at his crew, good people who had only wanted to make peace with the galaxy. We send a message to Earth, he said finally. Command needs to know about this. They need to understand how the aliens see us, and then? Daehyun asked. Minho smiled slightly, though it did not reach his eyes. The horizon's edge traveled through a quiet sector of space, far from major trade routes. Captain Lee Minho had chosen this path deliberately. After the incident with the Vextar and the disturbing discoveries at Archive 17, his crew needed time to process everything they had learned. The empty space between stars seemed like a good place for quiet reflection. That peace lasted exactly 4 days. "Captain, we have contacts," Park Jisoo announced from her tactical station. Her voice was calm, but her fingers moved quickly across her controls. 7 ships. No, wait, 9 ships. They just appeared from behind that asteroid cluster. Minho stood up from his chair, moving to look at the display. 9 ships formed a loose circle around the horizon's edge. They were mismatched vessels, clearly cobbled together from different sources. Some had weapons bolted onto civilian hulls. Others looked like military ships that had been heavily modified. "Pirates," Kim Dae-hyun said from the engineering station. "I recognize those configurations." "Scavengers and raiders, hail them," Minho ordered. "Maybe we can talk our way out of this." Choi Yuna opened a communication channel. The main screen flickered, then showed a face that made several crew members gasp. It was a Krelthan, a reptilian species known for their aggressive nature. This one had scars across its scaled face and one eye that glowed with an artificial implant. "Human ship," the Krelthan hissed. "I am Krex, commander of this fleet. Your vessel is now my property. Surrender immediately." Minho kept his voice level. "We are a diplomatic vessel on a peaceful mission. We have no valuable cargo. There is no reason for conflict." Krex laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "No valuable cargo? You have 40 humans aboard. Do you know what slavers pay for humans? Your species is weak, soft, perfect for labor colonies." "We will not surrender," Minho said firmly, "but we do not want to fight. Leave us alone and we will forget this encounter happened." "You will not surrender?" Krex leaned closer to his screen. "You will not fight? Then what will you do, mammal? Talk me to death?" The pirate ships moved closer, weapons charging. Jisoo's display lit up with target locks. "Captain, they are preparing to fire," she warned. "Evasive maneuvers," Minho ordered. "Dae-hyun, get us out of here." Full speed. The horizon's edge turned and accelerated, but the pirate ships were faster. They had been modified for speed and aggression. Within seconds, energy beams struck the human ship's shields. Alarms blared throughout the vessel. "Shields holding at 70%, Jisoo reported, but they are hitting us from multiple angles. We cannot dodge them all." Minho gripped the arms of his captain's chair. "Keep trying. Yuna, send a distress signal. Maybe someone nearby will respond." "Already sent, Captain," Yuna said, "but we are in an empty sector. The nearest station is 3 days away." Another volley of weapons fire struck the ship. The lights flickered. In the engineering section, Dae-hyun watched systems turning red on his displays. "We have damage to the port engine," he announced, "and the starboard shield generator is failing." For the next hour, Minho tried everything. He attempted to negotiate again. Krex just laughed. He tried to outrun the pirates. They were too fast. He tried to hide in the asteroid field. They followed too closely. Every option led to the same result: more damage to his ship and more danger for his crew. Songnari, the ship's pilot, worked frantically at her controls. She was young and talented, able to make the ship dance through space like it was alive. But even her skill could not overcome the simple fact that they were outgunned and outnumbered. "Captain, I'm sorry," Nari said, sweat running down her face. "I cannot lose them. There are too many." "Keep trying," Minho said quietly. "You are doing well." But they both knew it was not enough. Another blast rocked the ship. This time the damage was serious. Dae-hyun's engineering board went mostly red. "We have lost the port engine completely," he reported. "The starboard engine is running at 40%. We cannot maintain speed. Shields down to 25%, Jisoo added. Krex appeared on the screen again, his scarred face showing satisfaction. "Ready to surrender yet, human? Or should we keep hitting you until your ship breaks apart?" "Give us a moment to consider," Minho said, buying time. "You have 5 minutes," Krex said. "Then we board your ship and take what we want by force." The screen went dark. Minho looked around his bridge at his crew. Nari was exhausted from constant flying. Jisoo's face was tight with stress. Yuna looked frightened. They were good people. They deserved better than to be captured by pirates. "Options?" Minho asked. "We could abandon ship," Jisoo suggested. "Take the escape pods and scatter. Some of us might get away." "Leaving others behind," Minho said. "No, we all go home together or not at all." "We could fight," Dae-hyun offered. "We have some weapons. Not many, but some." "Against 9 ships?" Minho shook his head. They would destroy us in minutes. Han Jiho's voice came over the communication system from the medical bay. Captain, I have 12 injured crew members down here. Some are serious. They cannot be moved easily. Minho closed his eyes for a moment. 12 injured. 40 crew total. 1 damaged ship. 9 pirate vessels surrounding them. No help coming. No way out. He had been patient. He had tried diplomacy. He had tried escape. He had tried every peaceful option he could think of. And none of it had worked. The 5 minutes passed quickly. Krex appeared on screen again. Time is up, human. Surrender now. We need more time, Minho tried. No more time, Krex snarled. We are boarding your ship. Try to resist and we will kill half your crew as an example. Do not resist and we will only take you all as slaves. That is your choice. The screen showed the pirate ships moving closer. Minho could see boarding pods detaching from their hulls, small craft designed to latch onto a ship and cut through. Captain, they are launching boarding parties, Jisoo said. 6 pods. They will reach us in 2 minutes. Minho stood up slowly. He walked to the front of the bridge and looked out the main window at the pirate fleet. They were close now. Close enough to see the weapons pointed at his ship. Close enough to see the damage they had already caused. He thought about his crew. Good people who had volunteered for a mission of peace. People who trusted him to keep them safe. He thought about the 12 injured in the medical bay. He thought about Krex laughing at him, calling humans weak and soft. He thought about everything he had learned at Archive 17. About the progenitor warnings. About the dual-state psychology. About what happened when human patience reached its limit. Jisoo, Minho said quietly. Seal all interior blast doors. Lock down every section of the ship. Captain? Jisoo looked confused. Do it now, Minho ordered. Daehyun, give me manual control of all ship systems. Everything. Environmental, power distribution, drone control, all of it. That is a lot of systems to control manually, Daehyun said. Are you sure? Do it, Minho repeated. His voice was very calm. Too calm. Yuna recognized that tone. She had heard it before. In the Vextar negotiation chamber right before an entire civilization fled. Captain, what are you planning? Minho reached up and removed his captain's insignia from his uniform. He placed it carefully on his chair. Then he opened a ship-wide channel so every crew member could hear him. All crew, this is the captain. Seal yourselves in whatever section you are in right now. Do not open doors for anyone. Do not leave your positions. Stay exactly where you are. Captain, the boarding pods are 30 seconds away. Jisoo warned. Minho looked at his bridge crew. You heard my orders. Seal this section. Lock the door. But Captain, you will be alone out there, Nari protested. I will be fine, Minho said. His voice remained perfectly calm and level. Just stay here. No matter what you hear. No matter what happens. Stay here. Jisoo understood then. Her eyes widened. Captain, you are not thinking of... I tried talking, Minho interrupted her. I tried running. I tried every peaceful option. This Krex wants to hurt my crew. He wants to take my people and sell them as slaves. He thinks humans are weak. Minho walked to the bridge door. Before stepping through, he looked back at his crew one last time. Now I am actually getting annoyed. The door slid shut behind him. The bridge crew heard the lock engage. They looked at each other with expressions of shock and worry. What is he going to do? Nari asked. Jisoo pulled up the ship's internal sensors on her display. They showed Minho walking through the corridors alone. Around them, the boarding pods attached to the hull with magnetic clamps. The sounds of cutting torches echoed through the ship as pirates prepared to break in. I do not know, Jisoo whispered, but I think we are about to find out why the galaxy is afraid of us. In the medical bay, Jiho listened to the sounds of pirates cutting through the hull. He checked his injured patients, making sure they were all secure. Then he sat down and waited. The captain had given orders to stay put. So he would stay put even though every instinct told him to run. In engineering, Daehyun watched his controls. The captain now had manual access to every system on the ship. Power distribution, life support, gravity generators, the maintenance drones stored in the cargo bay, even the waste recycling system. Everything. What can one person do with access to ship systems? His assistant asked nervously. Daehyun remembered the files they had read. The incidents where single humans accomplished impossible things after declaring annoyance. I think we are about to learn, he said quietly. Throughout the ship, 40 humans waited in seal 47 minutes. That was how long it took for everything to change. Park Jisoo watched the sensors from the sealed bridge, her hands gripping the edge of her console. The display showed chaos throughout the ship. Pirates running through corridors. Systems activating and deactivating in patterns that should not have been possible. And one human signature moving through it all with calm, methodical precision. "What is he doing?" Songnari whispered, staring at the screens. Jisoo pulled up the ship's security cameras. What she saw made her breath catch in her throat. Captain Lee Min-ho walked through the corridors like he was taking an evening stroll. His face showed no anger, no fear, no emotion at all. Just quiet focus. Behind him, 3 maintenance drones followed like obedient pets. These were simple machines designed to repair hull damage and clean air filters. In Min-ho's hands, they had become something entirely different. A group of 5 pirates rounded a corner, weapons raised. Min-ho glanced at them and touched his control pad. The gravity in that section shut off instantly. The pirates floated helplessly into the air. Before they could orient themselves, the drones moved in with mechanical precision, using their welding torches and cutting tools to disable weapons and armor. Then gravity returned, and the pirates dropped hard to the floor, unconscious. Min-ho kept walking, humming a soft tune that the bridge sensors barely picked up. "He is not even hurrying," Choi Yuna said in disbelief. "He is just walking through them." In engineering, Kim De-hyun monitored the power systems. He could see every command Min-ho sent. The captain was using ship systems in ways that no training manual would ever teach. Routing power to create electromagnetic pulses that fried pirate equipment. Cycling life support to flood sections with harmless but disorienting gas. Adjusting artificial gravity in precise increments to throw off pirate aim without affecting his own balance. "This is not possible," De-hyun's assistant said. "No human can manage this many systems at once." "You heard what the progenitors said," De-hyun replied quietly. "When we get annoyed, we become capable of things we normally cannot do. The captain is not fighting. He is problem-solving. And the problem is 9 pirate ships." On the pirate flagship, Krex watched his boarding parties fail one by one. His tactical displays showed impossible things. His warriors were experienced fighters, veterans of 100 raids. But they were being systematically dismantled by one human using maintenance equipment and ship systems. "Commander, we should retreat," his first officer urged. "This is not normal combat. This is something else." "No," Krex snarled. "We outnumber them 40 to 1. We have 9 ships. They have 1 damaged vessel. We will not run from mammals." But even as he spoke, doubt crept into his voice. He had raided hundreds of ships. He had fought dozens of species. Nothing had ever gone like this. Inside the horizon's edge, Min-ho reached the cargo bay where most of the boarding parties had gathered. 30 pirates waited there, weapons ready, taking cover behind cargo containers. They had learned to fear the corridors where gravity and life support could turn against them. The cargo bay was large and open, with fewer systems to manipulate. Min-ho stood at the entrance and looked at them. 30 armed warriors, 1 unarmed human. By any logical calculation, this should have ended in seconds. But Min-ho was past logic now. He was in the state the progenitors had documented. The state where humans stopped considering alternatives and simply solved problems. He touched his control pad. Every cargo door in the bay opened at once. The maintenance drones that had been stored there activated simultaneously. Not 3 drones, not 10. 68 drones, every single unit the ship carried. They poured into the bay like a swarm. The pirates opened fire, but Min-ho had already calculated the angles. He cycled the gravity and pulses, making everyone's aim unstable except his. The drones moved in coordinated patterns, using their tools to cut weapons from pirate hands to slice through armor straps, to blind sensors with welding flashes. And through it all, Min-ho walked forward, adjusting power flows and system commands with fingers that never stopped moving on his pad. He was conducting a symphony of ship systems, each note perfectly timed, each movement serving a purpose. 10 minutes later, 30 pirates lay unconscious on the cargo bay floor, stripped of weapons and armor. Not one had a serious injury. Min-ho had disabled them all without killing anyone. He checked his pad, noted that all boarding parties inside his ship were now neutralized, and then turned his attention to the 9 pirate vessels still surrounding the horizon's edge. On the bridge, Jisoo gasped as new data appeared on her screens. Captain is accessing external systems now. He is using our sensor array to hack into pirate ship computers. That should not be possible, Nari said. Our systems are not compatible with theirs. He is making them compatible, Jisoo replied, watching the code flow across her display. He is writing conversion protocols in real time. This would normally take a team of specialists weeks to accomplish. He is doing it in minutes. Krex felt his ship shudder. Systems began failing across all his vessels. Engines powered down. Weapons went offline. Life support switched to minimal settings. His entire fleet was being systematically shut down by computer code coming from the human ship. How is this possible? Krex shouted. Our systems have encryption, firewalls, security measures. His computer specialist looked terrified. Commander, the human is not breaking through our security. He is rewriting it. He is treating our entire fleet's network like one large system and reorganizing it to his specifications. I have never seen coding like this. It is beyond anything I thought possible. Krex watched helplessly as control of his own ship slipped away. Emergency lights flickered on across his fleet. His warriors floated in zero gravity as the artificial gravity generators shut down. Communication systems went silent. 23 minutes after Minho had declared he was annoyed, 9 pirate ships drifted powerless in space. Inside the horizon's edge, Minho stood in the cargo bay and finally allowed himself to take a slow breath. The problem was solved. The immediate danger was over. He felt the focused intensity begin to fade, replaced by normal awareness. His hands were shaking slightly. He was very tired. He touched his communication badge. All crew, this is the captain. The situation is resolved. You may unseal your sections. Medical teams, we have approximately 90 unconscious pirates who will need basic care before we hand them over to authorities. Security teams begin securing prisoners. The bridge door opened and his crew rushed out to find him. Jisoo reached him first. Captain, are you all right? She asked, studying his face with concern. I am fine, Minho said. Just tired. What is our ship status? All systems operational, Kim Daehyun reported, jogging up with a data pad. You actually improved some of the power distribution while you were rerouting everything. We are running more efficiently than before the attack. Minho blinked. I did? You do not remember? Taehyun asked. I remember the general actions, Minho said slowly, but the specific details are fuzzy, like I was watching someone else do the work. Han Jiho arrived with a medical scanner. Captain, your stress hormones are returning to normal, but they were extremely elevated. Your brain activity shows patterns consistent with extreme focus. You were essentially in a hyperfunctional state. The secondary state, Yoon Seojin said, appearing with her datapad. She had been recording everything from the safety of the archive room. Just like the progenitors documented. You solved an impossible problem because you committed completely to solving it. Nothing else mattered. Minho looked at the unconscious pirates scattered across the cargo bay. I did not want to hurt anyone. I just wanted them to stop threatening my crew. And you accomplished that goal, Jisoo said. Perfectly. Without killing anyone or causing permanent damage. You disabled 90 pirates and 9 ships using nothing but our own systems and some maintenance drones. A communication signal chimed. Yuna's voice came through. Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the pirate flagship. It is the Commander Krex. Put him through, Minho said. Krex appeared on a nearby screen. The reptilian's scarred face looked different now. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked like shock and fear. Human captain, Krex said quietly. I did not know.
I did not understand what your species was capable of.
I thought the warnings were exaggerations. I was wrong. What warnings? Minho asked, though he suspected he knew. Every pirate in the galaxy receives briefings about species to avoid, Krex explained. Humans are listed as low-priority targets unless certain conditions are met. We are warned never to push humans to frustration, never to threaten their crew or family, never to make them say they are annoyed. He paused. I thought these warnings were meant to scare young raiders. Stories to make humans seem more dangerous than they really were. And now? Minho asked. Now I understand the warnings are not strong enough, Krex said. I had 90 warriors and 9 ships. You had 1 damaged vessel and some maintenance drones. Yet you defeated us in less than an hour, and you did it while humming. Minho had not realized he was humming. That was embarrassing. I am transmitting our surrender to all frequencies, Krex continued. Every pirate fleet will know what happened here. We will tell them that the warning